Jordan, can you look at us real quick?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, mic check.
Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sounds good.
Okay. You want me to do any tags or anything for you for this, or
Any what?
tags?
Tags like what? Good evening, everybody. On Facebook Live, I'm Jordan Furby. This is Jesse Krall. This is the first segment called Outside the Zone. This is basically a post-game recap
show.
Yeah, post-game show is basically what it is. Very, very informal. We're just kind of here to have a conversation with you, the fan, maybe give our 2 cents for what it's worth on what we saw tonight. We'll give it a couple minutes before we actually get in, but we're basically going to be doing this every Friday after Sports Zone, so we want you to hop on, obviously, the KCAU-9 Facebook page and join us. We've got our chief photographer, Jonathan Mack, behind the computer. He's going to try to relay some comments or questions that you guys have, maybe, what you have for us, any questions we can answer, or if you saw something tonight that maybe, we didn't get a chance to shout out on Sports Zone, we'd love to shout it out tonight. I guess, Jess, I'll open it up with you first before we even get into the highlights. We'll kind of give our thoughts real quick. You were at a couple Metro games. Yep. You went to South Sioux and then Sioux City North. I know both teams didn't get the win, but North did, and South Sioux, I think, admittedly looked a little bit better than what we've seen last year.
Well, the thing is with South Sioux is that, they're also, going down a class, so, there's going to be some bumps along the roads there, obviously.
Yeah, for those unfamiliar, South Sioux is a Class A school, but they're going to be playing a Class B schedule, so they're ineligible for the playoffs, which is unfortunate, but at the same time, South Sioux is still trying to grow its program, so I think it's the right move for the Cardinals under Coach Fluellen to, only his second year, he's trying to really build that program up. And we've seen South Sioux have great success in other sports. The athletes are there. It's just a matter of building up that talent. And I think you saw some tonight. A lot of the games last year maybe were over in the first half, but South Sioux looked pretty good for at least the time you were there, right?
Well, yeah, because they would get into the red zone, or they'd get 30, 40 yards away from the end zone, and then it would just kind of stall. They like running the ball, so that defense, if you can buckle down and pack the box up on defense, it's going to be tough for them to run the ball. And we saw it at the end, of the highlights, and that's one of the things where if you look at one of those touchdowns, that's a game-time touchdown right there at the in our highlights. So if you missed it, you can go online later tonight and check it out. But
we'll have it up in just a little
exactly,
bit.
Exactly, right. So 1 yard that way would have tied up the game. Momentum change, I don't know, but I'm going to be honest. North, I walked up and I'm still looking at the scoreboard and going 34-6. Are you kidding me? And I was frustrated with myself because I didn't get the highlights that Frere actually busted up.
But you still got some.
I was gonna say yeah. I talked to him on the sidelines. He go 30 or 65-yard touchdown or something like that, and I was like,
take a look at
exactly right here. We go right here.
Just a great win for the Stars. I mean, I know they've obviously gone through a rough couple of seasons.
Here's Ferrex right here with a nice catch in backfield.
If I'm not mistaken, I think 2016 was their last win from what we covered them in 2 days. And Coach Moore, this is his third year, and I think you're going to start to see the Stars really be competitive. Now, will they make the playoffs? That remains to be seen. We're not saying that they can't, but they definitely have a tough district ahead of them. But it's pretty impressive for the Stars to reel off that win. I mean, 47.
Well, they got a bunch of athletes. You obviously can see Devontae Cobb's right here. He's breaking off a run. If he wouldn't have slowed down there, maybe he scores 6. But it's he's trying to get away from that tackler. And then I said Frericks, and obviously they got some good defense too as well, and a good quarterback. They've got some tools on offense and some weapons that they can use, and their defense is buckling down tonight. I mean, when I was walking out, the kick return got for Council Bluffs got returned for a touchdown. So unfortunate for them. But when you're up, what was it, 42-12 when I left?
Yeah.
you're gonna give or take with with some JV players in there.
Absolutely. And another great city team that picked up a big win tonight is Sioux City West. Sioux City West, of course, last year won the first 2 games of the season and then really got into a monster district. I mean, they had to play the Dowling Catholics, they had to play the Ames, the Ankeny Centennial. I mean, Dowling has won 5 straight state titles, so I mean, you can forgive the Wolverines for being in a tough district, but TJ is no slouch because TJ has an amazing running back who I believe is a senior this year, and just I think it was West last year, the game that I was at. He ran all over them.
Yeah.
So for them to bounce back and pick up this win, I mean, you feel good for the Wolverines. And by the way, love those helmets.
Exactly.
The unis look so fresh.
I was on media day. I was looking at all the unis.
Isn't that awesome?
All of the Sioux City schools, and not even just Dakota Valley as well, but all the city schools have amazing uniforms. SVL, East got unis, and they're all looking great. And obviously, I wouldn't say it's all about the uniforms, but you get kids that want to go
look
to
good, play good, man.
They say Oregon has a new uni at every half of every game, so
That's about right.
It's exciting. They have Aiden Bell at quarterback. We just saw him run for that touchdown. He can throw it, he can pass it, or he can run it and he can pass it. So it'll be interesting to see what West does. Then we got North and West next week, so that's going to be an exciting game at Olson. So we're definitely going to be there. We're going to be seeing that game, so it's going to be amazing to watch.
Well, for those of you just joining us, I'm Jordan Furby. This is Jesse Kroll. We are here on the KCAU-9 Facebook page with Outside the Zone. This is a Facebook Live show that we're going to be doing after every Sports Zone on Friday nights. Try to get it around 11:05, and we may spend 10 minutes, we may spend 30 minutes. It depends on how much we'll get through, but we want to interact with you, the fans, and actually our chief photographer, Jay Mack, I think has one fan's comment right now or question.
We have a question from Dan that asks, are there any state contenders in the area this year?
I mean, I guess which state is a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw tonight with our game of the week, our second game of the week. Either one could have led the show. Norfolk Catholic and Pierce. I mean, Norfolk Catholic moves down a class in C. They moved down from C1 to C2. They won the state title in C1 last year. Went off and had a 13-0 season. Now they're in C2, and this is their only C1 opponent. And you got to give hats off to Pierce. Now, don't forget, Pierce last year, as the 15 seed, made the playoffs and proceeded to go all the way to the state semis and lost to Boone Central Newman Grove, who Norfolk Catholic beat. So a great win for Pierce. Pierce could be a team that could win in C1. Norfolk Catholic is a team to watch out for in C2. I was impressed with, we'll go over to Iowa and stuff now, and J-Mac, if we can go check out the West Sioux Boyden-Harrock Valley highlights. West Sioux, of course, is a team that won the state title last year. Boyden-Harrock Valley won it 2 years ago. BHRV looked good. Now, let's talk about this game. BHRV, won this game very comfortably, but Boyden-Harrock Valley is in 2A, West Sioux is in 1A. So when West Sioux starts to get into a district play, they still have a ton of talent between Coatmans and Deckers and all those guys. So I think West Sioux is one that could be in there. Boyden-Harrock Valley, the West Lions that was in there. I know the Wildcats played Central Lions.
You guys can throw SBL in if you want to come back to the city, too.
I mean, so Dan, to answer your question, yes, there is a lot of teams that contend for a state title. And let's go ahead and talk about our first game of the week, too, because I was pretty impressed with Heelan. Heelan is kind of an interesting, I don't want to say enigma, because Heelan is always good, it seems like, in every sport, especially football. And good to have that guy on the sidelines again. And Brian Webb, of course, the new head coach for Sioux City East. The Crusaders looked good. And by the way, that's the first time, I forgot to mention this in the show, that's the first time they've ever worn all blue. And I think that looks awesome.
I was going to say, that looks good. I like that. They honestly, on media day, like I said, I saw the uniforms. They come out, the players are talking to me. They go, we never saw these uniforms until we threw them on today.
Yeah.
And that was early in the morning, so you could tell that.
Because everybody's so used to the gold pants, and I think a couple times they used white pants before, but I like the all blue with the gold helmet.
Yes.
I mean, that looks great. So anyway, what I was going back to talking about was, Heelan looked good. I think East has a little trouble because there's a lot of guys playing both sides of the ball, so I think you just saw them wear out. But East hung with Heelan in the first couple games, so it's one of those where it's still early. So, Dan, to go back to answering your question, we had a lot of teams, in the lower classes, I think, that can compete for a state title. But Heelan could be an interesting one.
I was going to say, what's interesting, though, is they lost Hunter Hope and Sabian Clark, two of their, stalwarts. And I talked to, a couple of offensive players saying, we can open it up now. We don't have to give it to Sabian Clark 25 times. Not to say that, it's not a bad thing.
Between Tyson Strobing and a couple of those other
Exactly.
linemen. And Tyson has some good genes, of course, his dad being Bandits head coach Irv Strobing. So I was pretty impressed with Heelan. They really could have blown the game open, I think, in the second quarter. So, and Coach Jansen told me after the game, he said, that's the only thing I'm worried about. And I even asked Coach, how's it feel to be back? And he goes, this isn't about me. I mean, Roger is already in midseason form. I think he's happy to be back, but it's good to see him back. Any other questions we got, J-Mac?
Yeah, but first let me go with those outfits. Kind of makes you think of good old Navy.
I was going to say Navy, or I know Heelan, obviously the Notre Dame comparison comes up, but it does remind you of the midshipmen a little bit.
It's exciting when a team start, having that swagger, and they're good.
Yep. Like I said, look good, feel good.
Exactly,
it
right?
makes a big difference. So
We do have another question
All right.
from Justin.
Okay.
First off, he's asking, did any of us go to the Sergeant Bluff game?
We did not, unfortunately. That Sergeant Bluff game was down in Lewis Central, so we actually got that game from our affiliate. So that's pardon why we didn't have a little bit more Sergeant Bluff Luton highlights.
And then to add on into that question, he asked, how great did the Lewis Central quarterback look since he is the TCU commit?
Yeah, well, the thing is, I got a chance to watch that guy a little bit in past seasons. When I was in Des Moines as a freshman, he started for Lewis Central. And you could tell then that this kid was a special player. And the other thing too that we may see a rematch of this game maybe in the state semis. But Lewis Central played in Class 4A last year, so they're dropping down to 3A this year.
It's not fair. Come on now.
It is what it is. But Justin Smith isn't probably going to use that as an excuse. I think it's definitely an eye-opening game for the Warriors. I think they'll bounce back. I mean, Duggan is I think it's Duggan. It may be
Max Duggan.
Max Duggan. Yep. Thank you, J-Mac. Duggan's a great quarterback. I mean, obviously, anytime you can go to a school like TCU, I mean, it's kudos to Gary Patterson coming in and poaching, maybe one of the best quarterback prospects since, shoot, his name literally flew out of my, he played for Purdue.
Orton?
Kyle Orton, thank you, yeah, sorry. It's been a long night. I mean, he's very highly recruited. I know Iowa and Iowa State came after him, but TCU has done good. I mean, you look at who they've turned out for quarterbacks, Trevon Boykin, some great quarterbacks. So, yeah, I think it's game one for SBL, and their schedule is very, very, very top-heavy. I think 4 of their first 5 opponents are ranked or receiving votes, or 3 of their 4, I think, in their first 4, and then their 5th game, they get to play Heelan. So it'll be interesting. Next week, they go to Harlan. Yeah. So, SPL could be looking at an 0-2 start, but I don't think that's any reason to panic because their schedule is, very friendly towards the end. It may not be a district championship for them again, but I see them making the playoffs.
They got some of those weapons they can lean
Justin
on,
Smith
too.
has that program rolling on all cylinders. Their offense is too good to only score 14 points. So, again, it's game one. They'll get everything worked out, and they'll move on from there and I think do a pretty good job.
Britton Delperding, the kid's,
my gosh. And Daniel
amazing.
Wright, I mean, it's like catching balls from a tree. That dude is 6'6".
Well, when I was setting up my camera, I'm looking up at him. I don't look up at
Jesse's
a lot of
like 6'4", 6'3", 6'4".
So I'm looking up at him and going, yeah. And then, it's just one of those things.
Now you know how I feel when I go up to Sioux County and interview any volleyball teams up there. I always feel like I'm standing in a hole. A couple other games, J-Mac, that we haven't got to. I guess the West Lyon Central Lyon game, we can talk about that a little bit. I think that's the one we haven't got to. The Beef Bowl. It was a really good battle. Last year, oh gosh, that looks good right now.
It looks amazing.
Last year, West Lyon was just on cruise control until the Dome, and I think they've been pretty, I don't want to say overmatching Central Lyon, but I mean, obviously Jay Roseboom has that program just phenomenal. I think 28 of the last 30 years they've made the playoffs, 15 or 16 straight years. But this was a close game. Central Lyon George Little Rock is getting its talent back, and it comes in waves in a lot of schools. But it was a good, hard-fought win for West Lyon. And, man, we are going to see some fun matchups with West Lyon this year. West Lyon, Western Christian, and West Sioux. It's like the West District. They're all in the same district. So we are going to get just some amazing games coming up.
I told you when we were, previewing all the two-a-days and stuff, I go, West Lyon's missing a lot of kids. It'll be interesting if they can bounce back. And, it seems like they're not missing a beat. Like we said, it's the first game of the year, so let's see if they, everyone can process it and keep moving along and grow as, other teams grow. But they're not missing a beat. It's crazy.
I never doubt a coach, like Jay Roseboom, who has just it's like a system. They're like an Alabama. They don't rebuild, they just reload.
Yeah.
So maybe they're and who knows? I think we even said, J-Mac, I think you shot this game and you said, maybe you have those first game jitters. It happens. You sit behind guys who've been starting for 2 and 3 years, and now it's your time to shine. It can be a little daunting, but West Lyon, I'm sure we're going to see him in the playoffs for the millionth time or whatever it is this year.
And just knowing that program itself, just from the teams I follow, they have D1 walk-ons go on every year.
Yeah.
I mean, the senior leadership just keeps going down to the next class every year.
You're right.
It's just an amazing program.
I mean, let's look at the guys from last year. I mean, Jaden Snyder it was going to go to Iowa. Now is following his brother to South Dakota State. Monty Potabom. Yep. He went to Iowa.
He went to Iowa as a walk-on fullback, and then you also had Jake Newborg.
Yep.
Brandon Snyder, his brother, and then Kyle Goenweg
Gronewig a couple years ago. Yep.
Yeah, he is now transferred.
And that's what's amazing is that I know they're in 1A now, but for the longest time, West Lyon is a Class A school, and for a town that small to just churn out. I mean, that is the definition.
I still got eligibility left in college. I'm gonna go up there, drink some water. See if I can get a walk.
Well, yeah,
with
I was
Iowa
like, whatever is in the water in Larchwood and Inwood is apparently working. So.
We got another question in here from George. How do you guys feel about these schools spending now on artificial turf now?
Oh, that's huge. Speaking from a kid that went from grass to high school, or grass in middle school, and then turf to high school, we were the first class to have turf, and it was unbelievable. I mean, you don't have to worry about certain practice times. If it's raining, if it's snowing in Minnesota, obviously it snows in Iowa.
It does?
Oh yeah, maybe. So if we also have a dome, so I mean, you put that dome over, you put the turf over, it doesn't matter where you're practicing. I mean, we practice in 30 below to 100 degree to rain, snow, whatever it shine, whatever it may be. You're getting the same feel every single time. And I talked to some SBL players and Justin Smith as well, and they go, it was like practicing on concrete some days.
Isn't it amazing?
And it's like, then they're talking about it.
Especially compared to, some people are out there watching who remember, the AstroTurf, where literally it was, that much turf and then concrete. So good, you literally would bounce off the grass if you watch those old clips from the 80s.
And I was going to say the grass too. They make it look like grass now. I feel like a turf aficionado right now.
I was going to say the only thing that stinks about the new turf, and we'll get a chance to look at SBL's new turf field coming up in week 3. So not next week, but week 3 when I believe they open up against East. East gets to help christen that field. It looks awesome. It reminds me, SBL's logo obviously reminds me a little bit of Oklahoma State's anyway, but it looks awesome. I saw a couple aerial footage from the school, and it looks insane. The only thing that's a little bit bad is, man, those fields, you bake. Because they've got, I don't know if anybody knows, they have the little rubber silica in it, which is a lot of schools use just ground up tire. It's really fine, tires that are just grounded up into those little small pieces that I'm probably still picking out of my shoe here every now and then for Memorial. But yeah, it's nice to see. I think, a lot of, central Iowa schools had these, eastern Iowa schools had them for a while. It's nice to see Heelan, SBL, obviously Olson Stadium has had it with Morningside having it in the city in there. It's nice to see these because no longer do we have to cancel games if it starts pouring down rain.
It's worth the investment.
Absolutely. I mean, it is expensive. These fields cost anywhere from $800,000 to $1.5 million. Now, they've gotten cheaper because back when, 5 years ago, I think, like the Valleys and everybody else were spending close to $2 million.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see. I mean, it's perfect playing conditions. I mean, the only thing you have to do to keep up the maintenance there is basically roll it and occasionally add some more rubber pellets. So it's good.
And J-Mac just did a story on a turf football field. Where was that at?
That was in Macy, and I just want to say right now, congratulations to Omaha Nation on their first victory at home.
It's a turf. Maybe it's a turf.
Yeah, Omaha Nation, the school formerly known as Macy. Congratulations to the Chiefs on the big win. We'll, of course, be probably heading out to either there or Bago this year for the big showdown between those two schools. I think this year it's in Bago because last year it was in Macy. So we'll try to get out there for that new field, though, because that's pretty awesome.
Both of them are artificial turf.
That's true. That's true. They've got some nice fields out there. So, any other questions we've got?
We have a hello from Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Good to see you.
And then we have another question about how about Kingsley Pearson's offense?
Kingsley Pearson, they're going to be an interesting team to watch this year. We didn't have a chance to get out there, but we will throughout this season. I believe the score tonight, they won by 20-something points or whatever. So, or maybe it was even more. I think they put up 70, if I'm not mistaken, 70-40, if that's right. The Panthers are good. It's something about Kingsley Pearson and Lawton and Mobile, they just churn out some great athletes over there. And I have a soft spot for 8-man. I never grew up with 8-man football. Where I grew up in Ohio, I don't even think they had 8-man football. So to come out and it's almost like arena football, but still outside. I mean, it's exciting. I love 3-down linemen. They spread the field, even though it's a smaller field. But anybody that knocks 8-man as not real football, go out and watch a game, because you are sadly mistaken. And some of these athletes are just tremendous.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've seen tremendous athletes go on to play in the NFL.
Chad Greenway.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking
stands out of.
So, yeah, it's fun. So, yeah, congratulations to Kingsley Pearson Panthers. We'll definitely be heading out to the great land over there later in the season.
We have a nice, funny question for you.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
How much do you guys pay the cheerleaders to give you those shout-outs?
Well, pretty much it comes from our brains.
Yes.
So you can imagine that it's pretty cheesy, and all we promise is, hey, you guys want to get on TV? And eyes light up. The fun that I had with the Healing Girls is I try to always keep it simple with what I say. I do 4 or 5 words for each line, and I'll give them credit. They're not on TV, and it's especially tonight. What was it? I think I said, doesn't matter if you're for East or for Healing. I'm not saying who. One of the cheerleaders, I think we had to do it 3 or 4 times. So this group was better tonight. A couple ones we had last season, it was like, okay, I'm gonna. And I think you've gotten smart. You hold up signs.
I've got a script. Shout out to North student section though. If anyone's watching it,
I didn't get a chance to see it.
They
I
got
go back and
rowdy.
Watch it. Yeah.
So obviously I go up to them before halftime starts. The games or the first half's over, but the band's getting on the field, and I go, you guys want to do this for me? And they go, yeah. And they're kind of like looking in the background. I'm like, you guys got to watch the band. They go, yeah, we usually watch the band. So I'm like, all right, cool. 15 minutes later, I come up. I go, you guys need the scripts? They go, no, we were talking about for 15 minutes. They're watching the band, but they're talking about it, and they go, let's do this. So argument. People can chime in on Facebook. Is pineapple? It's a never-ending argument. Is pineapple a pizza topping or not? That was part of it. Kids were pretty vocal about that argument in the stands, and I'm gonna be honest. Credit to North student section. They were rowdy. I do the back and forth, this is Jordan and, this is Jesse, whatever. And then after it, I just felt my feet vibrate. That's how loud the student section got. And I'm telling you, you couldn't see the back kids. You could certainly feel them and hear them, though.
Sounds good.
So if any students are watching or any parents, tell their kids, we're going to be out at the games. We're going to want your kids to get on TV. We're going to help them out as much as we possibly can.
The camera's always watching. We try to find some good stuff. And I want to give a shout out since we're talking to student sections. I didn't get a chance to have it on camera tonight, and that's my bad. But Healing took baby powder to an entirely different level tonight.
LeBron James times 100.
I felt like a blizzard came through Memorial Field, to put it lightly. It was insane. I mean, it was to the point where, and forgive me because I don't have a lot of hair up here anyway, but white was just covered in these guys in their hair. It was insane, and they kept. It was all over the track, and a quick rain will wash that away. Or
I was gonna say, luckily I wasn't there. I probably just got into it, just got rowdy. Yeah.
So shout out to the Healing student section. We've got some great student sections all across Siouxland. We love going out and talking to you guys and hearing from you guys as well. Don't forget too. We gave our first fan photo of the night out to Mark Schoenfelder over at South Sioux City, sending a great picture from the South Sioux game. But we want to see your pictures as well. So go ahead. I know we're on Facebook right now, but we're gonna cross social media platforms. Go to our Sports Zone KCAU-9 Twitter handle. If you're not following us, please give us a follow. And each Friday, go ahead and take your best picture, whether it's a shot of your son or daughter in the game, or if it's 2 friends that are just taking a selfie at the game.
And we don't need to be at the game. This could be in the middle of
absolutely.
Wherever.
This is open to all of Siouxland. So we want to see your best pictures. We'll try to choose some of the best ones. We haven't gotten too many lately, so that's where we're kind of opening up. If you guys want to send out some more,
teams are slow in the first game. Twitter's slow in the first game, but let's pick this up, folks.
And we've actually, I think last year, I can't remember the team now, but I know that we did sneak a video in, and that sometimes it's crazy behind the scenes. Maybe one of these times we'll kind of show you a little bit behind the scenes while we're getting ready. If we have time, we can sneak in a video. So don't feel like you can't send in a video. It's fan photo, but we'll take fan multimedia, I guess, of the game. So again, next week. Send in our pictures or your pictures to the KCAU-9 Twitter page, and we'll get you on there. And we got I think it was Boss's Pizza and Chicken tonight.
We don't know.
We don't know what it's going to be.
Most likely
next
food.
Week.
We talked to
it's
our
food.
sales.
Yes,
it's food.
We talked to our general sales manager Dan Marsh, and I said, Dan, I was once a high school kid, and Jesse still eats like a high school kid.
Exactly.
You should see this kid at B-dubs. But anyway, we always try to get food. So, we try to pick students, but anybody that sends in a great picture, we'll try to reward you guys and send you out a nice picture. J-Mac, we got any other comments or questions?
Nothing right now. No, we don't. But
Alrighty.
I want to say, since I am a local product of Sioux.
J-Mac, who's behind the, J-Mac, come, can you take the headphones off? We'll get you in the shot. This is Jonathan Mack. He's our chief photographer,
How you guys doing?
shooter extraordinaire. He's a Westwood Rebel. Played golf down there. J-Mac, what other sports you play?
I played basketball, baseball, and golf.
There you
You
go.
play football?
Big guy like you wouldn't play football? Mama wouldn't sign the permission slip.
No, they wouldn't let me be tight end. So.
Oh, okay. But yeah, J-Mac does a great job helping us shoot sports, and obviously shoots news and stuff as well. But a Westwood Rebel product. So sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead. I want to give you an intro.
Well, I want to say, since with Westwood, congratulations on the win over Akron Westfield, 7-6 today.
The hockey score.
Hockey, lacrosse, baseball, one of those two.
Yeah.
Definitely a low-scoring football game. Those are two teams I think that are going to be interesting to watch this year. Akron Westfield under Coach Walking Stick.
2 years removed from a state title.
Three years. 2015.
3 years.
2015 when they got back there. I know we talked to them during two-a-days. They want to get back to the dome.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to watch them. And Westwood has been a great team that I think is just on the verge of really punching through and maybe making it to the dome. J-Mac, have they made a trip to the dome in history?
Not that I ever have known of.
I don't think so.
They've had some
either.
talented teams in the past since I've been here.
Yep,
All I
Casper
know
Cart.
is ground and pound. That's what they're known
Exactly, yeah. So it's fun to watch, and we'll be getting down to Westwood. We try to get to as many teams as we can. I know, some of you may think, oh, you cover the same teams over and over again. We try to get to as many games. We try to get to the best games as we possibly can. Like the Norfolk Catholic Pierce game, the East Heelan game. If you're sick and tired of seeing those games, I'm sorry, because those games are just great rivalries. I mean, when you talk about Siouxland rivalries, we had 3 of what I consider maybe 4 of the best rivalries, and there's some other great ones too. I'm not discounting those, but when it comes to football, we had the Beef Bowl, we had Heelan East, and we had Norfolk Catholic Pierce all tonight. The only other one that we missed that maybe didn't happen is Lawton Bronson Woodbury Central, which we'll be getting to.
I was gonna say that's gonna happen. We don't have to worry about that.
That's always a fun rivalry as well. So, any other comments we can answer or questions?
None that we have, but to add on with that, folks, just knowing that the distances we have to travel to get to these locations, some of us have to go an hour in between games just to get these things. So we're sorry if we can't get to all the games, but we will bring you all the best games.
We try our darndest. We put that schedule together basically on Monday, and then try to choose the best routes we can get to. If you have a game that you think, hey, maybe you guys aren't aware of this, but you need to be at this game, something special is happening, reach out to us, email, Facebook, Twitter. I mean, there's more ways than ever to get in touch with us now. Call the station, leave me a voicemail, leave Jesse a voicemail. Let us know. We'd love to come out and cover, great stories, great games, and get out there. And obviously we cover, any team that's great, but if there's a good story behind it, we'll obviously love to come out and get there, and we try our darndest to bring you the best coverage in Siouxland that we can. So I think with that, we've talked for a good 20 minutes or so. But again, Outside the Zone, we'll be doing this after Sports Zone every Friday. So we will sign off from now.
I promise I won't look like Rudolph next week. I know I'm a little stuffy in the highlights right now.
Hey, I actually did see the allergy report tonight from Fred, and it's like a 9 or a 10. So
so sorry about that. Sorry
gotta get this guy some Allegra or some Zyrtec or Benadryl or something, and he'll be back. He'll be back tomorrow. Again, we'll announce our Game of the Week nominees coming up tomorrow. We'll announce where our Game of the Week is next Monday. I'm actually going to be out of town next week, so you will see Jesse and Jacob. Jacob is our new kind of sports hybrid guy. He helps out a little bit with news and sports. Did a great job down in Pierce with the Norfolk Catholic Pierce game and the recap. 6 touchdowns for that quarterback. Unbelievable. But anyway, those two will be back filling in for me. So if they don't behave, let me know while I'm gone, and I'll be back the week after next. So anyway, that's it for Jesse Crawl. I'm Jordan Furby. This was Outside the Zone. We'll see you next week, Facebook. Have a good night.